Christian Karasevich. I'm the CEO and founder of socialchefs.com, and you're watching Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing talk show, where we like to bring you the latest in social media news. But see, the thing is, we're different in the fact that, we cut out all the fluff. We talk about Facebook dating. We don't talk about that sort of stuff. We talk about what impacts you as a business owner. And every week there are new social media updates. There are ones from, in this case, this week, there's ones from Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and more. And, we like to take these and position them. How can they help you as a business owner? Because again, you can go spend your time on your social media channels, but if you're a business, you're doing it to get, to bring new customers in, to bring revenue in, to generate additional revenue streams, to generate opportunities for you, for instance, as a speaker. And so this week, we have a fantastic show for you. This is episode 138. I've been doing this for over 3 years. Absolutely love doing it every single week. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring on my co-host this week. We've got Jessica Phillips in the hot seat this week. She's going to be co-hosting. How you doing, Jessica?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for filling in this week for Phil and for Nick, and co-hosting. I probably hope you saw our preview earlier, but I love having you on the show. And the reason being, you always bring just so much energy and just so much knowledge and passion, to social media. And so thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I love being on the show. I get to nerd out with you guys, and it's my favorite thing. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. So we've got a fantastic guest this week. We've got Andrew Grill on, and I came across Andrew. I'm going to actually go ahead and bring him on, and I'll talk about him real quick. I came across Andrew because Phil had put a video. He sent me a link, and he said, hey, check this out. And I was looking through the video, and I was like, hey, it's like I actually know Andrew. I used to actually work at the same company with Andrew. Yeah. And I was like, I got in touch with him. But he was talking about, I think at the time you were talking about ads. Is that correct, Andrew? I think you're talking about like how people could position ads, maybe, or how they would be different in the future.
My view as a practical futurist is in 5 years' time, we won't be looking at ads that robots will. I could talk for a whole hour about that.
And I mean, and here's the thing: we're already talking about like AR. We talked about AR last week, and VR. We know robots are on their way here. Hopefully they're not going to take our jobs, but it's going to be really a really interesting future, I think, here. But Andrew, thank you so much for joining us this week for Social Chatter. What's the best way for people to, if they have questions for you during the show, where's the best way for them to connect with you at?
I've been called Twitter since 2007 at Andrew Grill, ANDREWGRILL. Tweet me there, or go and look at my blog at londoncalling.co.
Londoncalling.co, great. Well, I'm going to put that in the. By the way, you got some awesome domains, I have to say.
There's a story behind that. I've got Andrew.London because it's my name, it's where I live, and I'm the only person that has that because they're incredibly expensive, and I've become an ambassador for the .London domain, which means I get it at a great price.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I actually, when I sent you an email, we were getting in touch. I said, I was like, did I forget something in the email? And I tested it, and I was like, wow, that's actually really cool that you have this fantastic custom domain. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to drop this in the comments. Jessica, if everybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best place?
I'm also on the Twitters at Jessica Phillips with a K, Jessica with a K.
Sounds good. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. So I want to just welcome everyone to the show. For those of you who are watching, feel free to hit that share button. Again, we love having live video shows with friends, so make sure you bring people to watch the show. But Jessica, where do you want to start this week? We've got a lot of topics to talk about. Where do you think we should go?
Oh, man. So I think let's just hit it from Instagram's recent updates. If you want to start there with what they were rolling out at the F8 conference, but also some of their newest updates in regards to music and what they're doing with the beauty ambassadors, all of that. So maybe let's hit it from Instagram updates.
Okay, let's start there. So let's see. Let's talk about that Instagram, the beauty partnership that we have going on here. So let me get these in the comments for everybody. So Instagram, bottom line with this update, Instagram is now, what do we have going on here, I guess?
Yeah. So what they announced with this Instagram update is that beauty is a huge part of what they're doing on Instagram overall. We have all seen the influencers sharing different beauty products and all of that, but actually the beauty industry is booming, reporting at 445 billion and growing at a rate at 6.4% each year. And with Instagram, and I know that you've talked on the show about them integrating the Instagram shop button that's going to be coming, but now they've decided to have an exclusive partnership with a beauty team, partnering with Sephora, and also creating a actual studio within some of these industries where they can create content specifically for Instagram and for video. So they're going to start doing a rev share though with some of the beauty products in the beauty industries, so they can help them create and promote the beauty products on Instagram.
Fantastic updates. I was thinking you were going to say Pinterest, because we know that Pinterest and beauty just go together. It's a great marriage there. Yeah. But it's fantastic to see Instagram as well tied into this. Andrew, what do you think about this? Is this something where do you see this going?
Yeah, so Instagram, unfortunately, has become the platform of choice for influencers. I say unfortunately because I think what's happening is the brands are seeing that influencer X has so many thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, and that means they must be amazing and we need to pay them lots of money. I have been saying for a while, we need to move for influencers to an attribution model. So rather than giving $1,000 to say, or $100,000 to say, we want you to promote whatever product and we want you to be seen holding it. Instagram are realizing that is kind of blurring the lines between paid partnerships and native partnerships. So they've got the paid partnerships sort of tags on there. I think we need to move to the attribution model where if you buy the product and you click the link through Instagram, the brand can then say, well, you must have influenced that sale because they clicked on your post. I think until now, brands have been buying reach. So they think this person has hundreds of thousands of followers. They're shown with the latest handbag or the latest lip gloss, and that means that's fantastic. But they can never work out whether they actually move the needle. So I think influencers need to expect that rather than getting a wad of cash and swanning around the world and holding up products, they need to work for their money. They might get 10% of the on-target earnings, think of a sales rep. And the 90% then comes from, if you really influence the product, if people really click through from your post, you're happy to share the money. And I think influencers need to expect this is coming. Certainly Instagram has set this in play with the paid partnerships tags and those sorts of things. The fact you can buy now through the app, I think, is very important to show attribution. Otherwise, Instagram will become the Wild West. Anyone with a phone and a few thousand paid or fake followers can get a bunch of cash from brands. And I think brands are starting to realize that they can't see whether these influencers are having any effect. So, and the reason I say this, just to back up, it's from a point of reference that back in 2011, I was the CEO of Cred. Cred competed with Clout, social media influence platform. So I've seen firsthand what it's like to be an influencer. I've seen firsthand influencers approach me saying, I'm influential, give me stuff. So I really have seen from a psychological point of view how people behave when they have a bunch of money dangled in front of them and they then stop being authentic and they start becoming a business.
That's super smart. I love your tips on that. And that influencers now have to step up and say, how influential are you? And the proof is going to be, like you said, in the sales. So just because they have the followers and can take a pretty photo doesn't mean that they're actually being influential. And it's going to encourage them to make sure that they're really, truly connecting with the tribe that they can influence, that they are relatable to. And then brands have a safer buy-in to who they're partnering with a more of a guaranteed ROI. But one of the things I took out of the article that wasn't really necessarily the update, but things I'm seeing that companies are doing more is that they're creating this space and they're thinking more like a media company. I love that I'm seeing these companies, create a specific space for creating this content and having the studio kind of built in, because that's what it's going to take. If they're going to take ownership of their brand and creating all these, these images and, influencing and driving the needle too, above and beyond just working with influencers, is that they have to start thinking like a media company and producing the content of their products right within their location. So I like seeing that move.
I think overall, this is a fantastic update. This is one thing that I've always been very outspoken on. And that's, we have a lot of influencers that get invited to like events, for instance, and like you said, like they pay for people's, they pay for your travel, they pay for your, per diem, whatever. You come to an event and you're supposed to perform, but in most cases you don't. Like you might send a couple of updates. Hey, I'm heading to this event, and hey, I'm here at the event. but there's nothing really being done that I see to move the needle when you're at the event. And yet, you're still getting, you're getting the exposure, you're getting all this stuff, basically, as you mentioned, Andrew, that, a business, I guess, thinks that this is the right model, but you're right. It needs to come down to attribution, making people actually work for the money. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how does this impact, for instance, like the millennial demographic, for instance, how's this going to impact that audience? Because I think a lot of them look at it as, oh, hey, I can get a big audience and somebody's going to pay me. Jessica, this reminds me of that, like that hotel, the person I think was on Valentine's Day, where they wanted a hotel to pay for, their trip to Ireland and whatnot. I think it blew up on social because, the person thought they were an influencer, and like they wanted them to pay for a hotel, but like they really weren't producing anything from any of the work they've done. So this is I think from a beauty standpoint, this is going to be fantastic. But I also love your idea, Andrew, about the fact that, this should make a business rethink how they're doing their influencer marketing. Do you have any tips for anyone that, wants to get into influencer marketing or wants to bring on some people, to help them? What do you suggest?
Well, I think it's always been the case. Just back to that hotel example, if that was done 5 or 6 years ago, the hotel would have gone, wow, this influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers is going to talk about us. And they might have been a bit naive. I think the individual in particular had seen so many of these people try it on and try and get stuff for free that he just became sick of it and called this lady out. And it probably was about time that this happened. I think brands that are looking to work with influencers, they need to meet them face to face. Yes. If this person is going to represent your brand, do they have the brand values? Are they a brand advocate or a paid influencer? We're all used to celebrities, and we could name a bunch of them that we know that every time they promote something, they're being paid. And it's kind of, we'll expect that. I think what's happening with these millennials, they're saying, hey, I don't have to get a real job. I can basically get a phone. I can take some nice pictures. I can travel around the world, and I can get all this free stuff. And that's a sustainable career. It's not. I was talking yesterday at a B2B event about thought leadership. And the thing is, first of all, you don't call yourself an influencer. Influence is bestowed on you. And real thought leaders, people of real influence, do it over a period of time. And people look to them because what they're producing, the content they're producing is relevant. And they're doing it to benefit others, not to benefit themselves. I think you'll see more and more influencers just shoot themselves in the foot by being out there, being exposed, just doing it for the money rather than because they love the brand. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the FBA and the content, the CMA here in the UK, they're going to start to prosecute people, and people are starting to get fined and being told to stop this. So the law will catch up with them where they have to be transparent.
I love your tip with meeting face to face, and I love what MGM is doing. So they are finding the people that are already connecting with the tribe that relates to their brand. And as far as like you're saying, bringing them face to face, not only are they doing that, but they are telling the story from their perspective. So they're not necessarily leaving it in the influencer's hands. So they own this content. So they're bringing them in for the MGM experience, but then they are walking through the story and telling it along the way, and then have that content that they own that they can use time and time again. And then because based on the experience that they're giving to this influencer, they probably won them more than just a one-off transaction, but they've earned them as a fan for life because they bestowed on them this huge trip and this huge experience that now it's more above and beyond just the influence of the post. They've created this experience that's going to create long-term gain for them with this brand wanting, or this person wanting to share them out. So I think MGM is doing a fantastic job in that regard.
I have to say, I love both of your responses here. I mean, these are just fantastic, fantastic recommendations for people that, are looking to be if you want to be an influencer, or your company looking to bring on an influencer, kind of some things you have to kind of spot and watch out for. So you want to move on, Jessica, to the next topic?
Yeah, let's move on. So this one, I'm a little I don't know what's going on here. But Facebook weighs ad-free subscription option. So an option potentially for people to pay for Facebook, but get rid of the ads. So I think it's just right now in conversation. It's not something that is officially rolled out, but they're looking at how this could benefit their customers and consumers of the Facebook product. And would this be something that people would consider if they're not wanting their information to be collected with all the Cambridge Analytica backlash? Could this be a sustainable model? So I don't know.
Wow, this is my hot favorite topic. Let me add this one. So when I saw, because Cambridge Analytica is based in London, so we've seen this firsthand, and the Observer and the Guardian newspaper have done a fantastic expose. When I first read about this a couple of years ago, I went, really? Then it went quiet. And a year ago, the Guardian was being sued by their lawyers. And then finally they got through, and now Cambridge Analytica is shut down. But when Facebook did their sort of "We're sorry, mea culpa" tour, there was a great interview with Sheryl Sandberg. And the interviewer said, look, is there a way for me to not have to give my information away to you target the ads? Now, Sheryl was perfectly scripted for every other part of the interview. This is the one part where she went, well, that would be a paid product. Now, she didn't say that would remove ads totally. The problem Facebook has, the problem Twitter has, the problem Instagram has, their business model is driven by advertising. 80 to 90% of their revenue is from advertising. 85% of millennials in the UK, in the US, block ads through ad blockers. The media is so fragmented. The problem with these social networks that have been going for 10 or 12 years, they have definitely relied on traditional advertising revenue. That will go away. In 5 years' time, this is what my futurist hat on, I said in the opening, I won't be seeing ads. My digital AI-powered assistant, we saw a couple of days ago, Google can now have an AI that can phone up and make an appointment for you. That is coming to a consumer near you, where I won't read ads. My digital assistant will scan all the things I need to do, and so you'll have to write ads for robots. This means that Facebook's business model will be massively impacted because humans are not looking at ads and clicking on them. So I think Facebook will have to have a version where you have an ad light experience. Then ads will never go away, but flip it around. I would pay $500 or $1,000 a year to have my own cloud where Facebook never holds any information on me. If Facebook wants info from me, they do a one-time API call, application programming interface call, to my server with permission, and I decide, and only I decide, if they get the information or not. That is under 5 years away, which means Facebook's model is massively flawed. The other thing is, not only does Facebook own Instagram, and they paid $1 billion for that, they own WhatsApp, which they paid $18 billion for. They bought that not because of the ads in there, they bought it because of the data. And now that the Cambridge Analytica scandal has exposed the fact that Facebook has all this data on you may not know about, and GDPR is coming in, et cetera, their revenues will be massively compromised. I think Facebook are in a lot of trouble because they are relying on ads, and ads are going to go away. Here endeth the sermon.
I like the idea, by the way, of the robots. I love the idea of that.
Well, doing it already. So watch this space. It's going to happen. You will not be calling services. They'll be done for you. You will get notifications on your phone that your car insurance has been renewed at the best price because the robot has done it for you.
And I love here's the thing. I love the idea, for instance, to be able to, like, if you need to get your car insurance renewed. I love the idea of having that all kind of taken care of. Do all the shopping for me so I don't have to do it. Same thing with, like, booking travel. You want to book travel somewhere. It takes forever, right, Jessica? Like, you can't just, oh, I'm going to go. I mean, you could go, oh, let me go book my, vacation, not shop around. But, like, it's, it takes quite a while to go find the best places, and find the best hotels, the best prices, what do people recommend, all that sort of stuff. I mean, I can't wait for, that perspective. I can't wait for it to happen where, like, you don't have to think about that stuff anymore. You can just say, hey, find this and bring me the results. But at the same time, I mean, this also reminds me of YouTube, their YouTube product, like YouTube Red.
I paid for that.
I think Andrew dropped off for a second there, but YouTube Red, I think that YouTube Red is I think it's a really good solution. I mean, what is it, like, how much is it? $10 a month or something?
Yep. Yeah. So I paid for that because
what do you get?
So I get everything. So I can create subscriptions, subscriptions, but streams for myself. So I create like my morning meditations, my evening meditations, all the videos that I want to play back. And I create my own channels, kind of private. And then I can watch the video uninterrupted. I can download the videos so I can watch them when I don't have Wi-Fi or whatever. So I listen to things like on the plane. Or while I'm driving, whatever, I just play through my Bluetooth. So I love the product because I don't like being interrupted by videos, but I'm there. So I agree with what Andrew is saying and about the robots. However, I do believe that there is still a place for humans to connect. And the reason why we're there is to connect with people. The reason why the end user's there is to connect with people, and that no robot can necessarily replace that interaction and those conversations. So I think there's still going to be a place for social. I'm not going to YouTube, and the reason why I'm paying for that is because I'm not going to YouTube for the connections, right? I'm going there to get something and get out. Same thing with like car insurance or booking travel or whatever. But if I'm going to Facebook, in which I understand their model is based on ads, Senator, we buy ads, or we sell ads, excuse me. But I do think there is a place for them to create products like Facebook for Work and some of the other things that they're rolling out to try to generate revenue. Especially, I'm really excited to see what they're doing in the AR space and VR space based on what they were talking about at the F8 conference and all the spaces that they're creating. So I do think they're going to get creative and finding another way to make revenue, because I think Facebook's got some of the most brilliant minds all together, especially with their other apps. And I think people want the connection. And actually, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg led the whole F8 conference saying that the reason Facebook was born is that he was going online and he could Google anything and he could find anything in the world on Google. But the one thing he couldn't find is people and connections. And that's where Facebook was born, and that he wants to make the world a more connected place. And Facebook has been the game changer for that, and the way that we all started kind of connecting, besides the AOL, instant messenger days. But what he's doing is Facebook Local, and then also this new dating thing. I mean, not to get too much off on a tangent, you can watch the F8, replay, but I do think that robots can't replace those kinds of things. But I am interested to see who would pay for an ad light model, because I think you're right. Like, you're not going to get completely away from ads. Like, even with the YouTube ad, like, it just doesn't interrupt, but there's still like little clickable things in there that I know people are paying for. So interested by this. I don't know if Facebook's going to follow through with it yet, especially with how they're just now in the redemption phase of, getting the trust back. And I think this would kind of be another blow that's too early, too soon, right now.
Oh, they won't want to do it soon, because you can't replace 85 or 90% of your revenue without ads. And I agree they've got other products that will fill the need. But you know what? I subscribe to Netflix. I don't see ads. I do see recommendations for shows. But I was remarking the other day, I watched live television a few months ago. It was a show that hadn't been on for a while. It had come back. It was called Cold Feet. So I sat down 9 o'clock on a Friday night, and 13 or 14 minutes into the program stopped. And there were some messages. And I got to tell you, I went, what the hell was that? Oh, that's an ad. I hadn't seen an ad in a couple of years, because I don't watch any. I've got used to paying to remove ads. I don't have ads on Spotify. I don't have ads on Netflix.
Exactly.
I think I agree with you totally. The robot won't replace the humans, but there are better uses for my time and your time than going on comparison websites and trying to find the best deal.
Exactly.
I want robots to replace those mundane tasks. And you're right. Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook with the Facebook to connect people. He then realized pretty quickly that servers weren't free and developers weren't free. He had to learn how to pay for it. What's the quickest way? Chuck some ads on there. And unfortunately, they're not beholden to that. My concern is, how do they wean themselves off ads without killing the business? And if I see another pre-roll ad on YouTube, I'm going to scream. The moment Apple has been doing the pre-rolls that are 15 seconds long and you can't skip. Everyone else can have the 3-second skip. It's like, Apple, I've already bought your products. Go away.
I mean, I think overall, I think that I like the YouTube Red model. I mean, I like the revenue sharing side of that, because, for example, like there are going to be people that are, and again, you have to remember this from a business perspective. You can't, and this is for everybody who's watching, you can't please everyone with what you're doing. Like, don't even try. It doesn't exist. The thing you need to do is you need to please the customers. The people that you see, like, hey, these are the same people that are always tuning in, for instance, to my show. These are the same people that are always engaging with my content or asking questions or buying my product. Look at the name of the person buying your product when they check out. But keep doing that. Like, don't try to please everyone, because you can't. But the part that I do like about this, I like the revenue sharing side. Like YouTube, for instance, you can pay and you can get, and they've kind of almost, it's like a bonus. They give you access to what? Like, you get Google Play Music, I think, and you get a percentage of, and if you're the video, if you're the creator, your channel, you get a percentage of the revenue from the $10 subscription that somebody's paying. So I think that's a really good move on their part. I would love to see, we have to remember, Facebook also owns Oculus, right? So they've got revenue coming in from that. You still got the ad side of things. So there's definitely going to be some ways, I think, for them to be able to go beyond just a full ad model. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think? What's a good amount that, again, just speculating here. What do you all think would be a good amount for a subscription service for Facebook if they were to do this?
Now that it's been free for so long, they're not going to be able to charge much because nobody is going to think it's worth that subscription. They think if they're entitled to it, especially the generation that's grew up with it now, right? Like they're like, what do you mean pay for it? It's free. It's always going to be free. But I do think like me, YouTube's been the same way. And I was like, heck yes, I want YouTube Red. I don't want those freaking ads. Like they drive me crazy. And so I was, willing to pay for it. So I think, and that was no question to me, $10. Yeah. So maybe something like that potentially, but I don't know. I don't know what they're going to have to recoup in that scenario. But I do think most people are not probably going to subscribe. I don't know how many people are subscribed to YouTube Red right now, but it's probably more like the hardcore users like me that are like, okay, yes, it's worth it for me versus the browsers, that are in and out maybe once a day or so.
And I will say, you see the value. See, this is the thing. You see the value in paying for it. For you, the value is, hey, I don't have to look at the ads, for instance. That's a couple seconds. It's a couple less clicks I have to do, for instance. A little mental sanity there. What do you think, Andrew? What's a good magic number?
It's what the value exchange is. So, for example, I'm a business. I'm a public speaker. So all of my speeches go on both YouTube and Vimeo. Now, Vimeo is my platform of choice. And I pay the top dollar for Vimeo to allow me to do web streaming. I wrote a post about this. I was doing a test from Vimeo of the scene outside my window as a test. And I also uploaded that to YouTube. Within an hour of doing that, I was banned from live streaming for 3 months. I got a strike from YouTube because I broke the community guidelines. I couldn't contact them. They said, here's the link to appeal this. I couldn't contact a human being. Conversely, because I pay Vimeo, I have someone on live chat, I have someone I can email. They want my business. They want to fix my problem. The challenge is, I see the value in Vimeo because I can control what I want. I think it's got more control than YouTube and probably more control than YouTube, but it's more expensive. But there's a human being on the other end who wants me, and I see the business value of paying the top dollar for that. Whereas a free service, I'm getting what I pay for. I pay a little bit more, and I'm still treated like the broad consumer. So what's the value exchange for me? $50 a month for Vimeo is a good value exchange in terms of the value I get back. Actually, reverse it. Someone did a study saying that we're probably worth $400 or $500 a year to some of these networks in terms of their information. So I still think they should be providing it for free. They should be paying us. And going back to this AI roadmap model, it'll be a case of the Facebooks and the YouTubes. They will have to say, Andrew, Jessica, Christian, there is real value in your data. We want to pay you. It may not be cash, it may be discount or coins or tokens, but I think we need to get away from the fact that because Facebook's been so generous and invested all this money and it's free, we have to give our life away. I think it's where is that value exchange? Where, everything else we pay for. The laptop I'm using, I've paid for. The clothes I'm wearing, I've paid for. There's a value exchange because I want to look good and I want latest technology. Jessica's right. Because it's been free for so long, it's going to be very hard to wean people off and have them charged. That's why YouTube Red has only just started, because YouTube can't instantly say, right, now it's all going to be $10 or $20 a month. You've got to provide extra value for that $10 or $15 a month. I think the magic number is 10 is a nice one. Spotify's $10 a month. Netflix is $10. 10 is not, it's $120 a year, maybe more with a discount. I think once you go past that 10, well, that's a meal a month, and it becomes a little bit more unpalatable.
Agreed.
Definitely. I think that's a great point, actually. And I like the ideas, y'all are providing. I mean, it's about providing more value. The same thing as a business owner, like it's about providing value for your customers. It's the same thing for Facebook. They have to provide more value. I actually like your idea, by the way, because customer support is very tough to get at Facebook. I actually like the idea of them maybe even providing some customer support, giving you a direct line to some people.
Yeah, you because there's a value exchange. If something goes wrong or you want an extra service like Facebook Live, everyone else that provides video service like Vimeo has people, but they're not free, and so you've got to pay for it. I'm happy to pay for something that's valuable.
Yeah, and for example, give me, for instance, like right now, if you want to get an ad manager for running Facebook ads, you have to spend umpteen amount of dollars to get somebody. And, here's the thing, most times just to answer some basic questions or get some help. Yep. And as a result, I could see that would be fantastic to have access to somebody, an admin, essentially somebody at Facebook who handles ads, for instance, if you do need that help versus
businesses would pay for
outsourcing.
that. Yeah, businesses would pay for that, and businesses would pay for user-generated content. If Facebook could come up with a way of having so many people opt in to say, hey, I'll create content for you and you pay for the images that you want, like go into a pool, like things like that, businesses would pay for if they could move into some of the things that businesses need and the pain points like that. Like Facebook for Work, like it's been there, but I haven't seen like a huge community of people. Like I don't know anyone in our space that actually pays for that because I don't think it's completely understood. So I could go off on a tangent about that too, but I think Facebook has some things to work out before they can start charging for the platform.
Definitely. So let's keep rolling here. These are some great discussions. So we talked about Instagram's beauty partnership. We talked about Facebook subscriptions. What do you want to talk about next? We have
Instagram music.
Instagram Quick Reply.
Yeah,
Instagram music. Let's do that.
So,
what do we have going on here?
Yeah, this was another announcement at the FakeCon conference that Instagram is going to be integrating music. They noticed that a lot of people were posting updates of what they were listening to, but now they're going to make the integration a little bit more seamless. They have a partnership with Spotify. So if you're listening to the music, you'll be able to add a sticker that says what you're listening to, and also it would link up to actually get the music. So they've introduced this, and then also a partnership with GoPro where you can stream what you're GoProing all into the Instagram platform. Short version of what's going on there.
Also, yeah, actually, and we talked about the Instagram sharing to stories last week with with the music side of things. I think that that helps push things out further, like to help people see different brands and and learn, like actually take the product. For instance, if you're listening to some music, being able to share it and then offering somebody an easy way to buy. Andrew, what do you think about that feature? Do you think this is a good update for Instagram?
Weeboo have been doing this for a long time. I mean, they've got the model right. You go to that one app, you do everything. You pay for things, you share your music. I just find it crazy that the Western side of things has taken so long to literally glue things together, where Weeboo is the gold standard in how you have an app that is completely pervasive and sticky, and you do everything in that. Again, you can already scroll and have your Spotify playlist amplified on Facebook after doing it. This is not new. It's good that they're trying to make it sticky. They want you to stay in the app and while you're in the app, and that increases dwell time, which increases the value of advertisers, et cetera, et cetera. But this ain't new. Our Chinese friends have been doing this for a long time, and I don't know why Facebook, given they own all of the ingredients, haven't really melted together just yet. It can't be that hard.
No.
Yeah, and you're right. We've been using it on Facebook for a long time, and I think music is a great way of showing like how you're feeling. And I think they're trying to evoke this, emotion and everything to keep people connected longer. So I do like that they're integrating it now to Instagram. But you're right; it's been on Facebook for a long time. So yeah, it seems like a simple update. I would have preferred this over first, probably before some of the other stickers and things that were in there. But they're getting there. We're a little slow over here, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, and from a business perspective, I mean, here's the thing. If I'm a business, I think that here's how I could see this being useful. I think, and feel free to chime in. I think as a business, I'd love to see, if you've got certain music, for instance, if you're let's use like a yoga instructor, like, somebody who does spinning and whatnot. I could see, that type of business sharing some of the music, for instance, that they might teach or use in some of the classes. That way people are following it, because chances are somebody says, hey, I really like that music. Wow, that keeps me, energized and pumped up throughout the day. I'd love to have that, in my playlist or something, right? I'd love to see, a brand or a business that's, in the exercise or the fitness realm, be able to actually go and, share that with their customers. I think. You guys
though is that Spotify have really nailed the whole playlist concept, and to be honest, playlist on Spotify is gold. And so I think businesses, if you had the Nike playlist for working out those sort of things, I think when businesses can align themselves with the communities, the playlist seems to be the destination. And Spotify now, I think, monetizing. And if you want to be on a specific playlist, I get surprised every week. They have Spotify Discover, and I find all this great music I would never have found off my own bat, and I listen to it to my own playlist. And I love every year they tell me all the things that I listen to. I go, wow, did I listen to that song so much? So I think music is very community oriented. People like the similar sort of music. So I think if businesses could get together and sort of own those playlists, I would probably think differently about a business, because I think about them with my music filter on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like Social Fresh. I went to that conference and I love the music they were playing. And I asked them what they were playing. Same thing with Content Marketing World. And they shared their Spotify playlist and had it available. So I could see, communities getting involved. Like you said, Andrew, create ideas and using this as an engagement tactic. Like what should we add to our soundtrack for this year's conference? Or what would be the best song to describe this photo, and create some kind of engagement and community around it, because music is universal and everybody can kind of get around it. And it's a great way of creating engagement and building community around that. So I like your ideas, Andrew.
Oh, thank you. Sometimes
fantastic. So Jessica, we also had a couple of other updates from Instagram this week. What were those? We had, they had some new features for business profiles. They also had some action buttons that were also being rolled out. Have you had a chance to look at any of these or this update?
I have not. I've only played one that's not on the list, with the new focus thing, which is a few weeks old. I have not played around with some of their other features. Some of them are still rolling out. The slow motion for stories was one of the other things that they rolled out, a calendar view for Instagram stories archive, reactions to stories. Some of these are all the updates that Instagram has rolled out, but I have not tried out these features yet.
You know what is interesting? Instagram and Facebook keep rolling out all these new features, and Twitter just seems to be crickets. Twitter, you're listening, let us edit tweets. Let us edit tweets. You can
Please, this is worth a share just for that comment alone.
$10 a month to allow me to edit my tweets. It can't be that hard. Trying out loud.
Oh, gosh.
Not at all. I mean, and here's the thing: how hard is it, to give me an edit button and then, hey, it's very simple. Give me an edit button and show me, let somebody see, oh, this tweet has been edited, and let them look at the last 5 tweets that they want.
Does it, Facebook does it, Instagram does it.
No, they're just going to give you more characters to give you more opportunity to screw up. So that's their gift to you.
I don't get how.
You're welcome.
I'm sure Twitter shows like this, and they actually play with the apps. I'm sure people are going, why aren't we doing this? It can't be that hard.
Yeah. Twitter did roll out something. I don't know if you want to go there yet.
When you see this in 3 weeks' time, you'll realize that we want an edit button.
Love it.
And it's really funny because I'm guilty, by the way. I'm guilty of needing to edit a tweet, or at least in this case, I was able to edit a Facebook message because I'd accidentally put the wrong link, a broken link in for the show today. And Andrew let me know about that. And, I was able to at least go edit it versus let me remove it and let me then send a new link out and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So Twitter, if you're listening, we need the ability to edit tweets. That's another revenue stream for you right there to consider, giving people almost an add-on pack that they can pay for. But in Instagram news, so let's go back to this Instagram updates.
That's the soapbox item of mine.
They've got a couple updates this week. One of those is the ability for direct messages to be able to have quick replies basically to messages, which is the first thing, and this is something that Facebook has had for a while. Basically it's the whole AI aspect for it to basically be able to read what you're doing and then offer suggestions. I think this is, I'm actually glad to see they're starting to move a little faster on Instagram and also possibly WhatsApp with this. But that's one update we've got for business profiles. So you'll think that that's useful for a business?
That's super useful because most businesses are using this as a small business. They don't have a dedicated social media person. And if someone rings up or messages them with the same question over and over again, if a robot answers that, I'm more than happy with that because it then lets me get on with my day rather than waiting for them. So I think this is aimed at small and medium businesses that don't have a plethora of staff. And it just makes you look really super smart. If you can start loading it up with answers or it can learn the answers to questions, again, this will be the future. To Jessica's point, we won't replace people with these robots. We'll just allow people to get on with their day and do things they need to do.
Right. Because how many times have you've had a question about something and, for example, this morning I was working on something and it wasn't working, it was broken. And I had to then send a message to the company, and because of where I'm located, I had to then wait, and I still haven't gotten a response because, hey, they're just getting into the office. It's it's such a, your to-do list just gets longer and longer and longer with something that's so simple.
And it's usually the same thing over and over again because you can make a post like, hey, come to the Social Media Week Lima conference June 20th and 21st in Lima, Ohio. And you'll get a message like, when is it? Where is it? Right. And, again and again and again. You're like, ugh, but I'll let you get on with your day.
By the way, that's a fantastic conference for those of you who haven't gone. I've been there, a couple of years, Jessica, but great conference. So, but it needs to get smarter. I mean, and here's the thing, this is also kind of the same thing. Like as a business, if I'm, for instance, if I get the same questions over and over and over, this is what most businesses do. They have an email written up, they send it out to one person, and then somebody else asks the same question, and they don't ever just recycle it. And that's a situation where you need to recycle it. And you can recycle it, whether it's, for instance, you could have your notes app and copy and paste the same note. You can have a draft in your emails. I use a tool such as Text Expander, where I have everything already written in there. And I just, hit a certain key command. It populates the email. I change, the person's name. Hello, Andrew. Thanks for contacting me. Here's your response. Here are your instructions. And alternatively, you could create a blog post. If it's a question that you as a business get a lot. I mean, you need to be doing things to lessen the burden of what it takes to run a business every single day. You can't just go through the same motions and, oh, hey, I got to craft that email. That email takes you 30 minutes every single time, regardless if you've done it the first time or the 50th time. So definitely, I think a useful update here. Andrew, anything you want to add there?
I think also, I've said for years that social media is the best piece of market research you never commissioned. If people are telling you things, they're asking you things over and over again, use it as market research. Are we not making something clear? Is the product not easy to understand? Is the pricing hidden? They're telling you something. In fact, I would much rather look at the detractors, because if they've bothered to cross a threshold of getting on social media and telling me I'm doing something wrong, I want to reward that with, let's fix the product. So, think of it also as a bit of free market research.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can do Google Forms. You can, just take your social media updates, that you get from people. For example, like one thing that I do at Social Chefs is every single time I get a question, for example, if I get a question and it's a fantastic question, I have no problems answering it by email, but I also drive people, for instance, to a Facebook group that we have at, facebook.com/groups/social chefs. And I ask them to ask the question there. And the reason being is because I know that question can benefit more people. So, it's not about let me take them one at a time. Be smart in how you're trying to run your business. If you're a business and you have no social media manager or you're a solopreneur, basically, it's hard to do everything and wear every single hat. And you have to, and that's a shortcut. That's one of the shortcuts that you can use to help you get ahead, in your business and, to try to keep your head above water, basically.
Yeah.
Jessica, you want to add anything?
No, I think those are all good points and good suggestions, business use cases for, making things work smarter so you're not working harder. I like all your use cases for that. So I'm good to move on to the next one if you are, where we can talk about Twitter and their ad share model on how they are helping publishers. So publishers, Twitter kind of go hand in hand. They are known for being kind of the fast food restaurant is what I call them, to get information news on the fly. So they are trying to make it a better model for publishers, not only to get their news out and want to stay committed to the platform, especially now that Facebook has the instant articles, they want to keep publishers there. So they're introducing a ad share model where it's saying, or a revenue share model for ads rather, but they're saying, hey, you let us run, some pre-roll or some ads on your news, then we will give you a percentage of the ad revenue from that. So that is the short update of what's going on.
I'm actually, Andrew, what do you feel? How do you feel about this one? I have some thoughts on this.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
In 2018, we do not need any more pre-roll ads.
Yes.
No one ever said,
Thank you.
Here's something for pre-roll.
Yeah.
Right, now you can talk to me, because we don't need any more pre-rolls. It's a way to make money, but go back to my earlier position. 85% of people block ads. I rarely see ads on Twitter and others because I've got all these ad blocking things on. It's a nice way for Twitter to build, but this is in 2018. This is the best you can come up with. I'm really disappointed. There's got to be a different way. One could say, why has it taken you so long to be able to offer this product that people have been offering for a while? But I'll just stop it there. In 2018, we do not need any more pre-roll ads. We don't need in-ad ads. We don't need ads full stop. We need information that's relevant.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I saw a display or pre-roll ad that perfectly met my needs, because they don't exist. Anyway, that's my view on pre-roll. We don't need pre-roll. Get rid
Mike
of
sending
pre-roll.
you a high five because I completely agree. And that is what killed, I think, publishers locally is because they were like, oh, we got this great idea. We can publish all of our news on Facebook. And then people won't mind that they're met with a paywall or, asked to do a survey before they get the news. You're just ticking people off, I think. Like if you're going to publish it on social media and say that we have this article, give us the article. Or we'll find it somewhere else from somebody that's willing to give us the information. Nobody wants to get the ads. Nobody wants to be interrupted, and the only thing you're going to do is train people not to go back to your site because they're annoyed. So I think that's what hurt, local news agencies here. And now they're trying to play catch up, but we've already been conditioned that, oh my God, we're going to be greeted with a paywall. It's the pop-up that you just don't want. And it trains you that you don't want to go there for a news source. So I completely agree with Andrew. Just provide good information and you're going to build the traffic that way. If you have an ad on the side, whatever, they don't convert me, but we don't need more ads or more ways of doing ads.
I can just imagine the Twitter boardroom. Hey, what are we going to dream up? Let's do pre-roll ads. Wow, let's go and do that. I mean, let's innovate, guys, innovate. Twitter, go and find some people that can innovate, not people that are going to look at 15-year-old business models. I'm sorry. I love Twitter. I love you very much, but I'm just so disappointed with the innovation that we're not seeing there.
Seriously, agreed. Yeah.
I will say that the one benefit, and I don't really like pre-roll ads. I don't like pre-roll ads. I don't like mid-roll ads. I don't like post-roll ads.
Like ads.
I mean,
no way.
If I'm doing it's so weird. I wish that they would just get rid of ads.
But they can't.
How can we not come up with something different?
Because no one else knows how to do anything different. It's been around for 50 years.
Yeah.
It will go away. I think that this whole GDPR thing, we haven't spoken about it here in the UK. It comes into effect on the 25th of May. Why it's going to be important for ads in the future is that Facebook have come out and said, you know what, we're going to provide anyone in the world with the same level of controls, which means if you're another company, you say, we've got one rule for Europe and a worse rule for everywhere else. People are going to say, why do we get bronze treatment when everyone else is getting the gold treatment? So I think GDPR is going to make consumers wake up within 18 months that they don't pull this stuff away and the ad model will start to be broken. But we've got ads. We know why they're there, but we don't like them. And ad companies keep telling us that we need more of them. Why is WPP's revenue down by 60%? Because, people are going direct to the publishers. It's the ad model is starting to break down. And I think GDPR and what's happening with Facebook is just exposing the wound even more. And our discussion here about not wanting any more ads. I mean, consumers want more ads.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, the only way that I could see, for instance, like pre-roll and mid-roll ads, like only way I could see them being useful at the moment for a business is if a business, for instance, had other initiatives going on, like put that as part of the show, for example, or when you're going live, for instance, on Facebook, put something at the beginning, where it doesn't like interrupt the flow of the show, for example, to where like somebody can kind of like but there's smarter ways to do it,
affiliates.
So,
information, not advertising. If it's information, so if the pre-roll is for a car and I'm not in the market for a car, that for me is useless. If I'm looking for a car, I'm all ears, but it's cyclical. I'm not looking for a car.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because people like, I mean, I personally, I rarely am influenced by ads that I see. I see, I know, I look at the ad and I'm like, oh, great. Like, I'm glad that they have an ad in front of me, but you kind of just wasted your money because I'm not the customer. I'm going to go buy when I'm ready to buy versus, let me, it's just coming at you, So I kind of wish we had go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to move it on to the next topic so we can hit it up. But somebody that is innovating, though, is Snapchat. I am kind of proud of Snapchat with this update. I really like it. I think it's going to be very useful for the people that are full on Snapchat and get more people to spend more time on the platform. But what they're announcing is Snapchat is integrating an AR game, a selfie game called Snapples. I think I said that right. Snappables? I don't know.
Snappables.
Snappable? I don't know.
Snappables. Yeah, Snappables.
I didn't Google the translation of how to say it yet, but they're launching a game. So you basically, it's kind of like where you bring up your face filter, and it scans your face and then brings in all the filters, and then you can play a game with it. So there's like a dance-off game. There's a game where you're like trying to eat eggs. Well, you can invite other people in your contact list to play the game with you, which will keep score, so you can build a community. And I think it'll be a fun thing. I could definitely see my children doing this, and me if I'm really, really bored. But
you don't have anything else to do, right?
I do see this as the future with, interconnecting, with the social media apps themselves, and then taking away of bringing people. So instead of one-off communication where you're still, sending it out, but you're experiencing and immersing in an experience together. And I do think this is a smart move by Snapchat.
Andrew, what do you think? I know it's a game, but what's the business, side of this?
I don't see the business.
I don't see it either, other than drawing people. It's making the app sticky and coming back to it. So then the business side is that Snapchat can push more ads through. A word of caution, though. Remember a game called Pokemon Go? Remember that?
Yeah.
Now, when it was huge, summer last year, I remember walking through London. I couldn't move for people. You could tell who they were because they had their phone with a cable and a battery wandering around. And they were easy to spot. And I thought, maybe I'm the wrong demographic. I don't get this.
I loved it.
I loved it. You're not playing it now. So it has a life and it's fun, and then you stop doing it. So I think you've got to dream up these things that will keep being interesting. And again, in the summertime when it's nice weather, people don't mind running around. I've got to tell you, here in the UK in London, when it's cold, you don't want to go outside. Pokemon and Pokemon.
Yeah. I could see businesses using this as a way of building community, or, like having a contest, but it's not just the platform themselves, the update. It's the business thinking of a creative way of using this update in order to build a better relationship. So maybe they have an ambassador that's like, hey, beat Jessica or beat Christian. He's our top performer, blah, blah, blah on this game. And, creating a community around that and kind of having a little fun or being silly, or, send us a screenshot of who won and do a contest or something, and, driving relationships that way. But it's not necessarily the update itself. But I do think it is, like you said, Andrew, it's creating a way for people to become more sticky to the platform. And then businesses having to think about, okay, if people are hanging out here and spending time here, how can we use this update in order to build a relationship with our tribe around what they've already updated?
And one thing, here's the thing, like with a lot of companies, and this goes back to what Andrew mentioned, a lot of businesses do not have a lot of staff. And I love your idea of being able to incorporate, for instance, like your employees, incorporate like some of your fans that you identify as your best customers, your brand ambassadors, basically. I love the idea of being able to possibly integrate them into something like this. Maybe, for instance, if they beat you, if you're really, really good, they beat your score or whatever, maybe you offer them some sort of like, limited edition swag or something like that. Something that's going to get, that's going to help further your brand. But hey, you're doing it also because, you want to actually tap into this particular trend. I think from a business perspective, I still think like businesses need to have, and this is probably sounds silly, they need to have weekly marketing meetings. I mean, huge companies do it, right, Andrew? You have huge companies that are always meeting. Jessica, you probably have meetings all the time. But if you're a small, if you're a retail establishment, have a meeting with your staff. Find out what's going on, plug into like what they're doing. You'll just like talk about like, hey, we need to change the store design around or something, right? Like tap into, things that like can actually help get the word out about your business, I think. Whether
ways of bringing fun around it, and I do think that they have to think of a way that they are going to get involved with AR, because it is going to be even moving more rapidly now that, Facebook's saying, hey, we have $150 unit with, what's it called? Oculus Go headset. And their whole goal is to get these headsets into every household. So I do foresee this becoming more mainstream than it is now with just us, being more familiar with AR, VR. So I do think businesses, this could be a good way of them just like gently getting used to it. But also figuring out a way, how can you create a more immersive experience around your marketing and make it more fun where it doesn't feel like marketing? Because as you've heard us talk this whole time, nobody likes ads. So you have to figure out another way of connecting and building community where your marketing doesn't feel like marketing. And like Christian said, get tapped into what's already happening right now and ways that you can make that experience a little bit more fun or a little bit more engaging for your brand. That's something that's complementary to your brand. Don't go too far out there. If your brand's more serious, but you can still have fun.
Absolutely. Andrew, anything you want to add on that topic?
I think I'm done. I don't get Snapchat, so I'm the worst person.
I know.
So I'm going to give you we'll do one last update, and we'll do 2 quick tools and bring it in for a landing here. So update number 7 for the week. Lots of updates, obviously, but this one is an update for WhatsApp. WhatsApp is basically going to be now allowing, and this is actually a good update, I think. WhatsApp's going to now be allowing Instagram and Facebook video viewing directly within WhatsApp. So, for example, previously somebody happens to send you a link, you click on the Facebook feature or the Instagram link, and you have to go launch the app. And I realize it's only a couple of seconds, but as a business owner, you're busy, and in this case, it's going to take you directly to the content within WhatsApp. You're also going to have a PIP feature that's a picture-in-picture feature as well. So you'll be able to view the content and actually have a conversation while you're viewing the content. In a nutshell, that's what's coming out. It's for iOS at the moment. But what do you guys think about this update? Do you like the direction WhatsApp is going, or are we seeing too much, overlap of WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram, or what do we think?
Christian, just before we move on to that, I noticed you clicked a pop-up box. That was a box to keep you up to date and push your crap, right?
It was, yes.
Why bother when you closed it? I mean, this is a passive ad. It's like, hey, we want to keep spamming you. No. Again, I don't know why it took so long. Why can't you play things natively in the app? I don't see this as revolutionary. I see this as evolutionary.
No.
Well, why can't you play a video natively rather than pulling up another app? I don't see it as groundbreaking. I see it as just normal maintenance release of the app.
Yes.
Jessica, how do you feel about this one?
Ditto what Andrew just said. I think that is a perfect, explanation of what they're doing. I do like the picture-in-picture. I think, I'm not a WhatsApp user, but I would have expected to see it, as Andrew mentioned before. I like watching the video, but while always, already scrolling through other updates, so I can, kind of multitask, if you will. So I do think that this is something that should have been there, and good thing it's there now. So
I am very glad to have this. And I will say, back in the States, WhatsApp, definitely not a big, not a product that's used very often. Andrew, is it used a lot in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty heavily used here. I keep getting added to WhatsApp groups all the time, but I still, the interface is a little bit clunky. I don't know why it doesn't look as sexy as the other apps. It is a bit, But then again, if you look at the Amazon homepage, that's not that sexy either, but it works. It does what it says on the tin.
Christian, last week, did you talk about the WhatsApp for Business? That's a more exciting update, I think, for me, is that they've launched that. WhatsApp, for Business, where you can create and plan your business profile page there, a quick way of getting in touch with contacts, and the phone number and all the directions and everything is within WhatsApp. So they've opened that up for some businesses now. So I think that's an exciting update for business, because so many global users. So as you mentioned, a lot of people in the US do not use it unless they have family that are outside the US. But I do foresee with so many updates that, and the way that Facebook is moving, that, WhatsApp is going to continue in its growth. So I do, because of their, encryption, they don't keep any of the data, from people, and their promises there. And just because of the stability of the app, it's one of the apps that when there's any kind of tragedy, it's the last app standing, if you will. So I do foresee it as a good app to use, and something that businesses should claim their profile there.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that they're actually doing this. I mean, it's such a silly feature, but I think if you, I don't want to say silly, maybe it's just a very rudimentary, basic feature here. But if you watch like Facebook, for instance, and you're trying to watch, for instance, the show right now, you can still scroll and, watch the show, or at least listen to it. And I like that WhatsApp's going to have that integration as well. Not sure why it just came to iOS first and not Android as well, but I guess that's always the case in most of the time, most things they launch.
Yeah.
So let's move on to 2 quick tools here, and then we'll wrap up the show. So tool number 1 that we have for the week, it's called Promo by Slidely. Basically, it's called Promo. And basically what it is in a nutshell is it's an app for helping you create your marketing videos. And the benefit here as a business is, if you want to go create videos, it can take a lot of money to get a video created. You have to buy the footage. It's not like, I go to Google Images or go to Google and I look for, free videos. Every video, every sound effect, effects, features, all that sort of stuff costs money to use. And you can't just go to sites and you can't just grab this stuff. So basically what this tool does is it lets you get access to a lot of stock footage, music, and editors. So you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars for a video editor, and you get access to all of this. And you just add your messaging and your logo. Have any of you all used this one or tried this one out?
I had a look at it. I think it's a perfect tool for small businesses because, as you say, it's so difficult to get all this done. It become quite expensive. I think video is becoming more and more important. I'm certainly using it more and more in my marketing and everything I do. You know, if I'd known about this 3 or 4 years ago, if it'd been around, I probably would have started using it. I do it the old way. I actually go and create my own stock footage. The other weekend, I was on the bridges in London filming 4K high definition vision of Tower Bridge and London Eye to be able to use in my video. I think for small businesses, the fact that it's plug and play like a Wix website, it's fantastic. I think people are really warm to this sort of tool.
Yeah,
absolutely. What kind of camera are you using, by the way, to shoot your footage right now? Are you using your phone to shoot?
I use a Sony professional 4K camera. It's
nice.
90 full light kit, full audio kit. I even have a teleprompter. I've got the lot. But I know what I'm doing. You know, it's a bit of a hobby. But an iPhone, as long as the footage is stable, please, everyone, go and buy a $10 tripod. Buy a tripod.
Yeah.
If I see another video in the car like that, I'm going to scream. It's not hard to stabilize your video, but with tools like this, you can then make it look like the $2,000 version that a video editor would put together in a couple of days. I really like it.
Absolutely. Jessica, how about you? Any thoughts on this one, or do you?
It looks great. So I use a similar product, but not this one, that I've used for the past 2.5 years. And I swear by it. We use it every single day to create content for our clients for social media. We've noticed a huge increase of video, integration versus just putting a static social post up. So one of the ways we're using it is taking the footage there, taking blogs that we've written, and maybe it's like 5 tools that you should be using for video. And we would turn it into a video instead, post it up, and then put the link to the blog. But it is quick. It's easy. You can get the turnaround right then. It takes about 10 minutes maybe if you're really spending time to craft out the message to create a video. And it's a great use for social media and for brands to be able not only to create video for your Facebook and Twitter, but we use it a lot for Instagram too. So I don't know if this tool, I think, has Square Video as well, but the other tool that we've been using for the past couple of years does. And it's a great tool for business. Because
which tool is that you're using?
I'm using Wave.
Okay, Wave, yeah. Okay. Nice.
But this one looks very similar. The stock video footage is huge because a lot of brands don't have the capability of creating their stock video footage. But if they do, then they can upload it, and integrate it in. But and we've done that. And actually, it's kind of funny. One of the videos that we created from Wave, we uploaded some of the video footage that we had and then integrated with some of their tools. And that was the video that got picked up by like Cheddar and Mashable and all this stuff for a client. So it does, have the capability of growing even bigger than, a professionally done video. So
absolutely. And the cost, Andrew, how much does it cost to produce a video if you're, a business? It's what, thousands of dollars usually, right?
Can be with an editor and everything else. Yeah. So the fact that there's like a plan of $60-70 a month, that's a good investment. But again, you need someone who knows what they're doing and has a good eye for this. You can't slap together a video and throw it up there. Like say, buy a tripod, don't film it in your car, do it properly, because the videos last forever and people will find them and they'll watch them. It's awful. They say, well, you didn't take any care with your video. Are you going to take care with the product I'm buying?
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a fantastic point. And by the way, I dropped a link in there because one of the tools that I use, I take this with me everywhere. It's literally just, a mount for a tripod, and I take it everywhere because I can attach it to a tripod. I can use it with any smartphone I have, whether it's a big phone, a small phone. It's $30, I think. And it's a tool that I use every single day for, just for being able to record video. And I take it on even family excursions and stuff like that. So great tool. Promo, it's $40 a month, $70, $140. Again, you have to remember, you're not just getting access to high quality video and premium music. You're getting, in this case, 12 videos or 48 videos a month. But you're also getting access to support. And chances are Promo has the team there at the company that can answer your questions if you're like, hey, I need help, crafting a story, for instance, or crafting a script. So keep that in mind as well. You get what you pay for.
Exactly.
And the second tool for the week, very simple tool, it's called Pick Video. I don't condone downloading videos if I don't condone downloading something you don't own, but what this tool does is it will let you download videos from, say, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or YouTube. It basically lets you download all of these, this content that you can then, hopefully go use, for instance, to maybe educate yourself. That's how I could see this being useful. What do you guys think about this tool?
Yeah, I don't condone video downloading either. But for example, on Vimeo, I, as a creator, have the option to say, I will let you download the video. And pretty much 9 times out of 10, I will have that option there. And someone can download the video. They can go through their life and do whatever they want with it. I don't know why Facebook and others. So, for example, I would love to get the video of our chat today and download this on my website. It's not going to be simple. I'm probably going to have to use a tool like this to do it. And you know what? Facebook don't provide the HD version. They only provide a 360p version. It's really hard. I mean, I'm sure, Christian, I've got your underlying support for me to download and read this video. But
Absolutely.
Facebook make it really hard to do that. So some sites like Vimeo make it very easy for a creator to say, Creative Commons license or whatever, take this and do what you want with it. I've been more than happy for people to have my video. As long as they're not going to do something silly or draw faces on me. I've never seen that happen. But I'm more than happy as a creator to allow people to download my content and use it. If people did that, if it's a movie, then no, you can't download it. But I think we can do away with these services if the platforms allow the creator to make it easy to download.
Yeah, and I think overall, I mean, this tool, like I said, I don't condone downloading, but I think that it's the one way it's very useful is, for example, you're going to get on a plane, and travel for like 6 hours. And you want to be able to catch up on a training, or, hey, you want to learn how to do something. A lot of times it's very hard to get yourself out of just working all the time, to go find a quiet spot, sit down and actually, go through that training you've been meaning to do for 6 months. Yeah. Do what?
Just watch some offline content that you own or you have the rights to. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's how I can say being useful. And also,
sorry. I was just going to say, we've worked with brands that are part of like a national chain, and nobody knows how to get to the video that they want to use that is their kind of company's video. And it's like going, you're jumping through hoops, and we're just like, we just would like this video so we can repurpose it. And they're like, you can use it, just grab it from YouTube. And they're like, we can't, so we've used a tool similar as well to grab it. But, you're right. As long as it's used for good, it could be a great tool. Just not, taking somebody else's video and re-uploading it to your channel that you do not have permission for. Highly discouraged. Right. But any other way for you to keep the videos to repurpose and use for your brand, maybe edit a little bit, or to, like you said, information just for yourself, then that's a great use of it.
And the platforms are making it harder and harder to download. I know HTML script, and so I've spent hours delved in source code files trying to find and making it harder and harder, which means these sort of sites have to keep up with the techniques that they're trying to obfuscate being able to download stuff. 2 weeks ago, I was on a Facebook Live at a conference, and I kid you not, it took me 2 hours to find out how to download it. And then the organizers gave me the high definition video, and it took me 20 minutes to purpose that. So I was like, I wasted my time trying to dig around on Facebook to get a low quality version. So
and this site looks a lot better than the sketchy other sites that I've used to keep the videos. I've used KeepVid before, and you're not sure if you're downloading a virus or the video when you use it.
You're not downloading a virus. They're free of charge. Yeah, the virus included no cost.
Yeah, the bonus.
Absolutely. And by the way, Andrew, to save you some time, next time if you do need to download your Facebook Live videos, I'm actually dropping a link because I actually put a tutorial together on how to do that because it was such, and actually it's gotten a lot easier. You can actually just go to the live video. You can actually open the theater window, and then you can actually just click on the download button now. There's a download button, that option there. But it's
like you said, the high definition version. That's the thing. So you don't want the low def. You want the HD version.
Yeah, I wish they'd give us that. So
not hard. It's 2018. We don't ask for much.
That'll be the 2020 update. It's coming. It's coming. 2020.
Yeah. Then we'll have 4K video, and it'll be anyway. But please send me the link on how to do that because I would love to download this show and send it out to all my followers. That will get some really interesting and exciting tips from the two of you today.
Thank you so much. And I want to say, thanks a lot for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to actually finally connect, have a very intelligent conversation and discussion here. Jessica, thank you so much again for also stepping in as co-host this week on Social Chatter. You don't have any parting thoughts that you want to add for anyone?
I would love to continue the conversation. Find me on Twitter, find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, not so much, and definitely not Snapchat, but I'd love to continue the conversation. If you're on LinkedIn, I try and post something every day where I try and stimulate discussion, and people agree and disagree, and I love that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Jessica, and what about you?
Yeah, same thing. I would love to connect with anyone here and talk about what you think about today's updates. You can find me on Twitter at Jessica Phillips and also on LinkedIn, Relationship Marketing Jessica on Instagram. But I've had a lot of fun. Andrew, you are a wealth of information. I have really enjoyed the chat and picking your brain, and always great to see you, Christian.
Great to see you as well. And I just want to give everybody a quick update. If you want to get our daily email that we have, you can go to socialchefs.com/daily or socialchefs.com/weekly. That'll give you our daily email or our weekly email. We'll send you basically a blog post recap of this, along with some other things. Next week, we have Jen Herman coming back on the show. So yes, love having Jen on as well. So this should be fantastic show. So thank you so much, Andrew, for joining. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everyone at home, for watching. And if we can answer any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll see you all next week. Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.